Hi, everyone. We're just going to give a few more people some time to connect because sometimes once you've started broadcasting, there can be a delay being able to access the webinar. So we're just going to give people a few more minutes to get themselves logged in and ready with their notebooks, and a little bit more time to just look at me and Vickie. How are you feeling, Vickie? You feeling ready and excited?
I'm so excited. It is 8 a.m. Central here in Austin, Texas. So, and it's what time is it there, 2?
It's 2 o'clock. 2
Nice.
o'clock. So
Okay.
the post-lunch slump just before.
There you go.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone's got their tea and coffee and are sort of sat and ready. Thanks so much. 8 a.m. That's nice and early and bright to be doing a webinar, isn't it?
It's actually great. I'm usually up early, but not with full makeup.
No, but you do look
It's
phenomenal.
okay.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. I appreciate the
Yeah,
extra effort.
sure.
Cool. Well, I think we will probably. We've got someone saying hi to us from Toronto. Hello. Hi, Winnie. So yeah, thanks so much everyone for joining us today. This is the Jossie Talks webinar number 4. We've been running these for 4 weeks now, and I'm really excited about today's session. We've got I think around 750 people tuned in from all over the world, including Toronto. And it's so cool that it's landed on International Administrative Professionals Day as well. So we really hope you're being spoiled wherever you are right now, and you're about to be in for a massive treat with Vickie. For those of you who don't know, I'm Sivan Joss. I'm the founder of Joss Search, and if you are new to us and new to these webinars, and I know there are some familiar people on them, so thanks for coming back. We're a consultancy based in London and New York, and we're super passionate about championing hidden heroes, so executive support teams and the administrative teams in business. We want to be your voice. And we launched these weekly events to help us through, and it's just about doing our bit for our candidates and clients to help you guys through these uncertain times. So we had a break last week, and today we are definitely back with a bang. We've got the wonderful Vickie. So hi, Vickie, again. How are you? We were just talking about how early it is in Texas. Yeah, we're super grateful. She's the CEO of Redcade, and they're an internationally recognized training company. And I had the pleasure of attending Vickie's session in New York just before the world collapsed, right at the start. Literally, it was like 2 days before. And I have the attention span of a gnat, and I was able to stay totally focused for 4 hours. I heckled her the whole time, so I'm really sorry about that. But I did learn absolutely loads, and my jaw was on the floor. And this is only an hour, so make the most of it. I'm super delighted she's agreed to help everyone today, and that you all walk away with at least one new thing. You're going to learn way more than that, but I'm setting my expectations low so I don't, I don't know what it's like. But yeah, if you can at least walk away with one new thing that you're going to explore further, that will be really exciting. And as a recruiter, I think tech is going to be an even bigger part of how we assess candidates going forward, especially off the back of this and looking at all the new tech platforms that have been integrated into business. It's going to be super important that we are looking out for those skills and people are staying relevant. So much opportunity to value to yourselves and to your roles right now. And there's so much fear and uncertainty, and we're just really hopeful that you can walk away from here with some good tips to take away. And I apologize now, you can see my little face in the corner anyway, and thank God you don't have to hear much from me today. But if you do happen to look in the right hand corner, my mouth is wide open. I'm sorry, it's my concentration face. I can't do anything about it, and there's no one here to tell me that I'm doing it. So I'm sorry. We'll open up the floor to Q&A. Send us your questions. We'll go through them at the end, unless I think it's something super relevant. We're also going to have a poll for you to take part in. And if you miss anything, don't worry, because we're going to be sending you guys the recording. So yeah, Vickie, over to you. I'm going to put myself on mute.
Thanks, Sivan. I appreciate that. Well, hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this live session or the recording. As Sivan mentioned, I am a trainer, digital productivity trainer. I train on Microsoft, Google, and Apple productivity tools. I train the world's smartest people how to use their technology, including Bill Gates' team. and assistants at Microsoft and all over the world. In fact, if I have trained your team, will you just say hi in the Q&A so that Sivan can see, because I know quite a few of her clients are clients of mine that I've taught. So just say
Yep,
hi. Say hi. Yeah.
There's one in there already. I don't know who it is,
Okay.
but there's definitely one in there saying nice to see you.
Okay, good. So the session that Sivan had seen is my signature tips and tricks session. It's 3 hours, 4 hours long. And I did remember it was an audience like this. And I did remember seeing Sivan and her team up here to my left, and her jaw was on the floor. And unfortunately, I won't be able to share with you all of those tips that I demonstrated and the reason why Sivan brought me here. But I'm super thankful to be here today. And now that we're in this new workplace, I guess you want to call it, we have an accelerated need to improve our digital skills. So Sivan and I talked, and the team and I talked about some of the things that I want to cover today in only the hour that I have. And so I'll share with you that. But the thing is, several years ago, I came up, let me back up. Several years ago, well, I guess I've been really frustrated by the term tech savvy assistant. So I see that, and I'm sorry to say this since Sivan's a recruiter, I see that a lot on job descriptions, they're looking for a tech savvy assistant, but there's no description on what that means to be a tech savvy assistant. And then all of a sudden, once they get in that role, they don't meet the expectations they have for that particular hiring manager or executive. So I set out to create what it means to be a tech savvy assistant. You all get access to this. I have a handout, so I'll send you guys all the handout. And on the handout, it actually describes what each one of these core skills is. And I think it's really important for you to sit together, even for Sivan and her team to sit together with the hiring manager at any organization. And if you have an opening, identify what the tech savvy skills are for that particular role. And here's this sheet to help you. So I'll make sure you get the handout. And then there's specialty skills, like artificial intelligence is something that I just added to this, that it's not going to be necessary for every assistant to know AI, but in some industries, certainly know like a little bit of AI across the board, but here are some specialty skills. So I have that resource for you. What I'd like to do, so we've covered, these are the 5 things that we want to cover today. I want to talk about moving to the cloud because we have been talking about moving to the cloud for the past 10 years, but no one's really paid attention because it wasn't priority at that time. Now, all of a sudden, now that we're all working from home or working remotely, it is essential that we move everything that's local on our laptop to the cloud for several reasons. One, the most important reason that's specific to you is that there's not IT next door anymore. So when your computer crashes or you spill coffee on it or whatever, or tea if you're in London, then you can then move to your personal laptop or your kid's laptop or neighbor's laptop or whatever. So it's really important to do that. We'll talk about virtual communication in today's workplace. FindTime is an app that's for Outlook. I'll talk about that, one-click conference calls, and then Office themes. So I'm kind of skimming the surface and touching on various things. But before I do, I want to ask, Gurnish, do you have the poll results? Let's see what platforms you guys are using, what laptops you're using.
Yeah, so I think we've just sent the poll now. So if you could just quickly put your answers in, and then we'll share the results.
Because what happened was, as soon as the lockdowns happened, you were told not to come into the office. So that's why I'm curious. Right now, are you using a company? If you work for a company, are you working on a company-issued laptop, or are you working on your personal laptop? And then some other options, and then what platform you're using. That's going to help me.
Okay. Are we ready to share the poll results?
And just while everyone's doing that, I use both. I have my Mac here, right here. So I've been using Mac and PC and teaching Mac and PC for over 20 years. I started when I was just 10 years old. I'm just kidding. I'm in my 50s. But yeah, go
sorry
ahead.
to interrupt, Vickie. There's some issues. I think people can't see the poll.
Do I need to stop sharing my screen?
No, I don't know. I think, okay. It did flash up and then apparently it's gone. So, oh no, it's up and running. Is it up and running now? Yeah, great. It's up and running. Cool.
Perfect. And that should be plenty of time. There's 2 questions. Can
Yeah,
we go ahead?
great.
Yeah.
Share the results. Let's share the results. Okay, so we've got 66% using a company laptop, 18% a personal laptop, and 86% are on Microsoft Office 365, and only 4% are on Google's G Suite.
And I see the another scenario. So I think the another scenario, and you could put that in the Q&A, is that the other scenario, if you're not using a company issued laptop or personal laptop, what are you using? Put that in the Q&A. I have a feeling you're using a combination of the above, but what is your primary laptop is what I was asking. I should have made that clear. And then other, if you're not using Office 365 or G Suite or iCloud, what is the other platform? I'm just curious about that. I have a feeling it's just a combination of the platforms. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, you're using a company issued laptop, which is what I would expect. And the majority of you, almost 90% of you, are using Microsoft Office 365. And that's what I'm going to be presenting from is Office 365. So I'll go ahead and close this behind the scenes and here. Perfect. So I'm talking about moving to the cloud, virtual. We already talked about this. Yeah, I'll keep going. Yeah. Okay, cool. This is what I wanted to show you. Since you're using Office 365, I want to share with you the latest technology so that you can compare and contrast if your organization, if your company is using the latest technology or if there's going to be a potential upgrade. So I love teaching shortcuts. So I'm going to use Control L to get my laser on the screen, and Windows 10 is going to be the latest platform for Windows, and then the latest version of Office 365 will be Office 365, and then you can go to office.com and to access everything. The Office apps, the latest version is going to be Word app, Excel app, PowerPoint app. What I want you to do now is I want you to do me a favor. I want you to see if you have the latest apps. So what you're going to do is on your keyboard, do you see, if you're using a Windows machine, to the left of your space bar, there's a floating window. And let me just bring up the keyboard and show you. To the left of your spacebar, right here is a floating window. So what I want you to do is I want you to click that Windows key, hit the Windows key, and type Excel for me. If you see my screen, it says Excel app. It doesn't say Excel 2016 or Excel 2013. It's showing me that I'm using Excel app, and that is always going to be the latest and greatest version of the technology. So anytime I send you a tip and say, hey, X lookup has been introduced in Excel, then you'll probably will get that feature in the next day or so or week or so. So Excel app. Otherwise, you might see Excel 2019, Excel 2016, Excel 2013. That means you're using a perpetual license, which is a static version of the Office applications with the features that were introduced at that time. No new features will be introduced in those programs. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. For me to get back to my screen and show, if you ever need to get back to the Zoom call or anything on your computer, I'm going to show you Windows Tab. Windows Tab is called Task View in Windows, and that allows you to go between different windows. So when you're presenting in a virtual environment like I'm the presenter right now, I don't have to stumble and try to get back to Zoom or try to get back to PowerPoint or try to get back to Word. I can do Windows Tab and then go straight back to my presentation and then keep going. That's a great tip to show any of your executives who might be presenting in a virtual call. All right, so there's the Office apps. The latest notebook app is OneNote 2016 or OneNote app. And then OneDrive is going to be where you put all your personal files, personal work files. And then Teams is going to be team documents, messaging, audio calls, video calls, ad hoc meetings, internal meetings, and client meetings. I'm seeing several organizations or percentage of organizations that they're using Teams for this area here, but for more formal internal and external meetings, they're using Teams. They're using Zoom or WebEx or something like that. So that is a tiny trend that's happening. But if you have Office 365, you have these full capabilities. And then there's some apps here. So I'm going to do Control L to get that off. And just a quick tip, if you want to ever black out your screen or white out the presentation, this is my colleague Bonnie Lowe-Kramen loves this tip. If I just press W, it will white out the slide, and then just hit any key to bring it back, and then hit B for black, and then hit any key to bring that back. Another great tip to share with your executive after you attend the session and say, hey, I learned some tips for you. All right, let's talk about the cloud. One of the top questions people have is, what's the difference between OneDrive and SharePoint and Teams? I don't understand it. What should I do? So let me give you an overview real quick. We cannot save files to desktop or documents or pictures or videos anymore. Do not save anything to your laptop. And in fact, I would just say stop. Every time you do that, like, think of me telling you to stop. Don't do that. When your computer breaks, you just can't get that document back. The only time I ever do this is if I'm temporarily putting something on my desktop that I'm going to upload to someplace else. Think about this scenario, and I know you've done this in the last 5 weeks, is you are done working for the day, you close out your laptop, turn off your lights, and then you go over to the couch or the kitchen table or to the kitchen, start doing personal stuff, and then somebody pings you from work and says, hey, could you send me that file or whatever it is? You have all that capability here on your phone. So you don't have to go back to your laptop. You can go to OneDrive or Teams on your phone and access the information. So you don't have to bounce back to your desk. So what's the difference between OneDrive and Teams? When you have a file that you're working on, a personal file that you're working on, I'm not talking about personal like your kids' stuff or medical authorization. I'm talking about your own file that, let's say it's your annual review. You're having your annual review next month, and you want to write down some notes. Put that in a Word document and save it directly to OneDrive. That's your personal drive in the company's cloud. Everything that you put into OneDrive is completely secure, and all you would do is, if you wanted to share it with one person or 2 people or 3 people, you can certainly do that. So you still can share in OneDrive. When you leave the company, not if but when, everyone leaves the company, even Bill Gates and Steve Jobs left their companies that they founded. When I leave my company, my OneDrive files will no longer be accessed by, it can't be accessed by anybody. I think there's a 60 to 90 day retention. So anything I work on that's just me, I will put in OneDrive. Anything that I know the team will need access to, so let's say you have a network of executive assistants in your organization, you can create a team, the EA network, and you can put shared files in that team. Anyone that has access to the team will have access to those documents. So if you need the whole team to access it, definitely put it in Teams. That way, when you leave the organization, everyone will have access to that. So that's the former, S drive, T drive, R drive might have been where you put team documents before in the 1900s. So your homework right now this week, even today, is I want you to take everything off your desktop and your documents, pictures and videos, anything you have in your P drive or U drive that are specifically for you, put them, drag and drop them into OneDrive, and then any team documents, put them in Teams. That is critical. The reason why is because you want to be able to access them. Again, think about if something happened to this computer, or when something happens to this computer, can I access these files online? Can I access them from my phone? And can I access them from any of the laptops in our house? And also, can I share them? So that's the goal. All right, I want to talk about messaging and specifically about Teams chat and drop-ins and meetings. And this really applies to anything you're using. So if you are using Zoom or WebEx or anything like that, this applies here. The goal is for us to be able to communicate. Obviously now, since we're in a virtual environment, we want to be able to communicate from any device, from the web, from any laptop, or from our phone. I don't know about you, but what I'm hearing and what happened to us is, as soon as we went on lockdown, the communication all went to email. And all of a sudden there were hundreds, if not thousands, of emails in our inbox because of the craziness that was happening, this uncertainty, all the stress, anxiety of what was happening. we have got to minimize email. And one way to do that is to move our conversations to more like informal conversations to a Teams or chat platform, whether you have Skype, Teams, Google Chats, whatever, Google Hangouts. Save email for more formal communication, or when you need to CC or copy, CC, BCC, work with the client, work with partners. Minimize email as much as possible. Use it for more formal communication. And then use chat as much as possible for one-on-one communication, for team discussions, and use at mentions. And I'm going to show you a couple of shortcuts in Teams, and then I'll show you at mentions. And then you can promote, once you're chatting with someone, you can promote it to a voice call or a screen share. In fact, my assistant Colleen, when she first started with the company in January, I was in Seattle at the time teaching at Microsoft, and she had a question. She said, Amazon wants 250 copies of the book. I'm like, that's not normal. Usually it's like 5 copies of the book. And I said, can I see the order? And she had to log into a system. So I said, can you share your screen? She was on her computer in Columbus, Ohio. I was on my phone at Microsoft in Seattle, and I had the Teams app on my phone, and she messaged me. She then hit share screen, and I could see her desktop on my mobile device. That is the goal. There should be seamless communication on every single device. So we started with a chat, we went to a voice call on Teams, and then she did a screen share. And then video calls, which would be ad hoc meetings of screen shares. And I also do scheduled calls. So let's say after this, I received a Zoom link for a recap after this with Sivan's team. I could have sent a Teams link to it. I'll show you how to send a Teams link for ad hoc meetings and screen shares, and then virtual meetings. So let me go ahead and move over to Teams. And I'm going to show you how I launch Teams. I use the Windows key and I type TEAMS, and then I could use the Start menu just to launch any application. I'm a faster typist than I am a point and clicker, so I do everything through the Windows key. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a really quick tip. I'm going to say Control 6. Control 6 will take me immediately to Files on the left-hand side in Teams. And the reason why I know it's 6 is because it's the 6 icon. So Control 1 is Activity, Control 2 is Chat, 3 is Teams, 4, 5, and 6. So that's a shortcut key, Control 6. So this is showing me my recent files, but I need to quickly chat with Colleen. And you don't have to go to chat. You don't have to click on this little pencil to chat with anybody. What I would suggest is do Control N as in new, or on a Mac it's Command N as in new. So I do Control N. So I could be actually in a Teams meeting, and I could, if I want to have a sideline chat with someone while I'm in a Teams meeting, if my screen is not being shared, I'll just do Control N. So then I can type her name, I can type other people's names, and then I'll say, good morning. I'm teaching today from London. Hope your class goes well. She's right now teaching a class. Yes, she's teaching a G Suite class right now. So, so she's not going to be able to respond to that. But that's a quick way for me to do that. If I'm going to do the at mention, so here is another one we're doing. Please disregard. I'm not a member. Can I join it? Okay, thanks. It should be fun. Okay, she's on the thing. Let me go to this one. If I want to at mention someone, if I say at Colleen, and you'll notice it brings up Colleen's name. The thing about at mentioning is it creates visibility for the person that has an action item or that should be answering. So you can be in a team environment and at mention. The one thing I don't like about this at mention, it has her first and last name and the company name, but you can backspace just like social media. You just hit backspace, and say, this is a test. Please disregard. Or I could say, you know, hey, what are the numbers for today's webinar? Whatever the case may be. Please disregard. And then she's going to get notifications all over the place. She's going to get an email notification that she's been @mentioned. She'll get activity. It'll have an @ symbol in activity up here if she's been @mentioned. And then she can always go to her @mentions. Any one of us can go to our @mentions by doing control slash. These are the slash commands. And then you can type in mentions, and you'll see all of your mentions here. So that's a great way to just knock things out. It's like wherever you're mentioned, that's probably the highest priority communication that you need to address. And then you can go about your day. So that is @mentions. Now, I can obviously escalate this call. This is a call between Vickie, Colleen, and Tracy. I can do a video call here, an audio call, and I can do a screen share with the three of us. When you create a chat with 3 or 4 people, you can still promote that to any one of these types of calls. Now, I'm going to talk about virtual meetings. So when I go to the calendar here, I could do a new meeting, or I could click on Meet Now. So let's say someone says, I'm on the phone with somebody, and they said, hey, I'm having trouble with something. Can I share my screen? I'm like, sure, let me send you a Meet Now. And I'll click on Meet Now. I can rename this. So let's say Sivan wants to talk to me about her computer. So Sivan.
Always, Vickie, always.
One-on-one. And so I'll just hit join now. I'm going to turn off my mic. I can invite someone from the organization. I can put an email address here, but you'll always see every time you, when you open up the participant area, there's always a link, always in your meetings. So you can click on copy link info, and then let me create an email. So then what I would do is I'd come in here and send her an email and paste the join link and send her an email. So that way, if she's looking on her phone, we can hang up on the phone and then Meet Now. And I'd be on my couch watching her desktop, talking to her on a Teams meeting effortlessly. So I wanted to mention that. Let's see what else I have. I'm going to do Windows tab.
Vickie, do you mind if I jump in and quickly ask you a topical question? Someone's organising a London-wide virtual meeting for 70 participants with 4 to 5 people presenting successively, and they were planning on using as Teams because they didn't know which was best. And then they don't have a Zoom license. They like the format of being able to do quick surveys and chats at the same time. Can you do that on Teams?
You cannot do quick surveys. You can do chat on a team meeting. You can't do polls. Well, you could do it in live events. So Teams meetings is for up to 250 people. And then there's a live event option that has up to, which you could do with 50 people if you want. Let me get back to Teams. Let me cancel this. So when you create the meeting, control 1, 2, 3, 4, control 4, there's an option to do live event. And then that would create a live event, and they have polls and things like that. But I would definitely practice if you're going to do a live event. In fact, if you guys are looking for things to do during this time, get with other EAs in your organization and practice presenting, practice a live event. Share screens, unshare screens, mute, unmute. Start practicing so that you can kind of create a list of best practices for these meetings, and you can be really prepared. Hopefully that helps. Is that good? The other thing I was going to tell you is if, let's say I have an email. So if I have an email from Sivan earlier today, and let's say she says, hey, I'm having trouble with my computer. I can actually hit reply with meeting in Outlook. And I could promote this email to a meeting request. So I can promote it and click reply with meeting. And from there, I have Gardnish's email, but I can change that. I would just say Teams meeting. The thing I want you to notice is that the whole thread the context of why we're meeting is now captured in this meeting request. And then at this point, I could say Teams meeting, and then it would be a Teams meeting and we can immediately join. So the other situation, the Meet Now, I was on the phone with her. The other situation would be if I got an email saying, hey, I need your help. Okay, reply with meeting, and then add a meeting link, and it gets on the schedule right then. And then you have that history there. All right, let me go back here. Windows tab takes me back to my list. Oh, the spinning wheel. Okay, so calls, chat, videos, calls, screen shares, virtual meeting. So when you're in virtual meetings in Teams, if you open up the chat message, you'll be able to see all the participants, and you should be able to hit mute all. So I wanted to make sure y'all knew that, is just go to the chat, go to the participants screen and mute everybody. Control N is in new chat. Control E is search. So if there's anything you're searching, so let's say, for instance, I want to look up, I have a $29 Office 365 course, and there's a link to it, and I can't remember what the link is. So I can do, wherever I am in Teams, I can do Control E and type, I remember I sent this in a meeting with a client. I can type $29, and I said Control E, 29, hit enter, and it found the chat message that I sent while I was in a Teams meeting. So as you're meeting in Teams, it's capturing all the chat messages, and then here's the link. You can also save. If I keep looking for this, I can also save this message. And if you don't know where save is, it's either under your avatar here, and I can say find all my saved messages, or I could do Control/saved, and it will take me to all my saved list here. Sorry about the little dog barking. And there's my saved list here. The other thing you can do is Control G. Control G will go to a certain team. So here we have BTUA. I did Control G and then BTUA. This shows me all the Be the Ultimate Assistant teams and channels I have, and I can go directly to a specific team. So I just wanted to show you some shortcuts there. Working remotely. Go to channel. This is super important in every virtual meeting. In fact, I think what we should do at the very beginning of every virtual meeting is remind the audience, remind attendees, what is the toggle for mute? So kind of a housekeeping slide, similar to when we used to say, could everybody silence their phones? Do you know how we said that over and over and over again? People know to silence their phones, but it's just a reminder every single time. So I would encourage you, every time you have a virtual meeting, is actually remind everyone to toggle your mute on and off. It's Control-Shift-M in Teams, and I think it's Alt, can't remember what it is in Zoom, but that is going to be super helpful for everyone in a meeting. So start that trend. Here are your Control/. If you want to do Control/ and type keys, you can see keyboard shortcuts. All right, so I need to keep going. The only thing I need to show you, there is a way that you can turn off incoming video in a Teams call, and that is when you click on the More Options button, turn off incoming video. What that'll do is help with bandwidth issues if you have internet issues, but also if there's something like, I don't want to see someone eating, you can turn off their video. They will not know that you've turned it off. So that's an option. This is brand new, show background effects. I'll show you just real quick some of the background effects that Microsoft added last week. And so this month they were focused on adding new backgrounds or basic backgrounds similar to Zoom. Next month it'll be the ability to upload your own personal background. So the first priority was like, let's just get some basic backgrounds so that we don't see the kitchen behind us or whatever. If you want to remove the background, that's the option you're looking for. If you want to blur the background, this is that option. I'm screen sharing. A couple things with screen sharing that's super important. I see people struggling in when they're working with in a team meeting, the difference between a desktop window and a desktop screen share and a Windows screen share. Right now, I'm in obviously Zoom, but when I present, I always share my desktop because I have to bounce between PowerPoint and Outlook and Word and Excel and Teams. So I need to always be showing my desktop. If you're only sharing a PowerPoint, if you're presenting and you're only sharing slides, then you would show your window, your PowerPoint window. And the difference between that is if there were any pop-up windows, or if you needed to get behind the scenes or open up an email, people wouldn't see the email that you're opening up on the screen. They would only see PowerPoint. Before you click one of these, decide if you want to include system audio. And the system audio would be important if you want to share a video during your virtual meeting. So if there's this cute little YouTube video that you want to, will help improve morale, then definitely share it during your virtual meeting. If it's not within your PowerPoint, you definitely want to share your desktop, but include system audio so everyone can hear that. That is it for screen share. I now want to move over to FindTime. How are we doing, Sivan? Good?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Okay, good.
We've got some good questions, which I'll get to at the end, I think.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, FindTime. This is probably one of the hottest new little apps. It's actually been around for almost a year now, if not a year. And it is a way for you to get consensus on when you can meet. Suppose Sivan says at the end of this call, "Hey Vickie, let's meet over the next couple of weeks. Let's find a time we can meet for the next couple of weeks for our next webinar." So for instance, so what am I going to do? Am I going to email her 5 different dates and times? I have no idea. Then she's going to look at her calendar, and then we might go back and forth. And maybe there are 5 of us that want to get together. So FindTime is a way for you to poll everybody, and as soon as there's consensus, then it automatically gets scheduled on everyone's calendar. So there's no back and forth. You send one email, then everyone makes a decision, and it gets scheduled.
It's literally the best thing in my life.
Are you using it?
Like all the time.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So it's an Office 365 free add-in. So you must have Office 365 in order for you to create a FindTime poll. The recipient does not need FindTime. So I have been using this for a year, and I have yet to receive a FindTime poll. Microsoft, people from Microsoft send me polls all the time when I need to meet with them, but I'm just waiting for someone to send me a FindTime poll. Anyway, the recipient does not need one. It's similar to Doodle Poll. You might have seen that, which is a free Doodle Poll, free polling app. This integrates with Outlook. And then as far as they have a hold feature, which is so cool because once I send a FindTime poll, Outlook would put holds on my calendar so I have visibility that I have suggested these times for somebody. And you can turn off that hold feature, and I'll tell you why. There's 2 scenarios when you're creating a FindTime poll, especially for assistants. The first scenario is that you're booking a meeting for yourself. So Sivan emails me and says, "Hey, let's pick a time for all of us to meet in the next 2 weeks." I'm part of that meeting. I will set that up. So that's the scenario. The other scenario would be if my assistant was setting up the meeting with the 5 of us. Then she would turn off the hold and the auto schedule because she's just going to collect the information, get consensus, and then manually create the meeting request. So, and Microsoft is working on a delegate feature so that it's part of that. So if you're a delegate to someone's calendar, then there'll be some sort of delegate feature where you can have the holds and auto schedule. So let me show you. First of all, your homework assignment is to go to findtime.microsoft.com. It's getting warm in here with all the lights, so I'm going to take this off. So FindTime. Oh, thank you. It's for Admin Professionals Day. FindTime.microsoft.com is where you access it. It's completely free. You have to have Office 365. You'll find out soon enough if your Exchange is on 365 because you'll get an error message saying your Exchange is not on 365. So you must have that completely free. So this, I'm going to show you this live, but these are the polls that you get. So number 1, download it. Number two, you're going to use FindTime on your calendar. You're going to insert the FindTime into the invite. I'm going to show you this live, but this is what I want to show you is that this is what the hold looks like. So if I want to talk to somebody about the Red Cape Academy, our ongoing courses that we have, then it shows me that I have a hold. I'm going to be meeting with somebody about the Academy there. And, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay. So if you get out of your slides, you can right click and say see all slides, and then it will take you to my section. And here, I have it set to receive notification when the votes have come in, and then you can go online and view all the votes. So this shows you 2 people accepting or finding consensus, and then here's another option. This is what it looks like on the web. So what'll happen is, let's say that this time it was green here and it was green here. Outlook, FindTime will pick the earliest date and time available for everybody. This happens to be, we only found one time that was available, but it would find the best time. So let me show you that. And I'm going to use this email. Yeah, that's fine. So let's say I'm just responding to an email. I'm just going to delete this. So I just hit reply. Sivan sent me an email. Hey, can we find time in the next, oh, get it? Can we find time? Can we find some time in the next couple weeks? So I'll hit reply and say, sure, here is my availability. Okay, and then wherever the cursor is, I'm going to come up here to new meeting poll. Oh, add some attendees. Oh, it'll get you, Sivan. Let's do Sivan. And let's do my assistant. So I'm going to show you somebody internal, somebody external. So here says duration 30 minutes. I can change that to an hour. I may not want to include work hours. Well, she's in London. I'm here in Austin, Texas. I'm in Central Time. So let me start with work hours, and let me start with today. So I go to day and I have availability. I'm available at 9:30. So I have sometimes here, anybody green or red means they're internal within my organization. And then anybody that's gray, sorry, Sivan, is external. But you can see the little arrow means that's you. I'm here. So I can set a couple of times. Obviously 5 o'clock is going to be like midnight there, no, 11 o'clock her time. So I may not choose that. Other times, this means that I'm busy, but I may have just blocked my calendar, and so it looks like I'm unavailable. But you can still override that, so you can pick different times. If you want, these are all my work times. If I was going to be up at 7 in the morning, I can click on time, and it would give me the full day. I'm going to go to, I can click another day. I'm going to choose availability. That's going to be too late on Thursday for Sivan. Friday's too late. I'm going to go to the next week. And Monday, I'm completely out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, a quick question that I don't know the answer to. Can you add different time zones here, or how do the time zones work?
No, you'll have to, what I typically do was you have to decide what time zone you're creating this from. And if we have time, I can talk a little bit about time zones. But so if Sivan if I want to base it on Sivan's time zone, if she tells me she's only available at noon, in order, like for instance, noon for a webinar, so the webinar has to happen at noon, then I would change that time zone to London time and have it and find any available time that I have at noon. And then it would reflect on my calendar when I'm available at noon London time. So you just have to decide who's the most important person, or what's the most important aspect or time constraint. And if it's the person's time constraint or the event's time constraint, that's what you need to base it on. So if this was like a meeting with Bill Gates, I would find out, I would probably put it in Seattle time instead of Central time. Okay, so hopefully that helps. And if we have time, I'll show time zones. So I picked a couple of dates. So next Tuesday, 9 a.m. And then here, then I click next. And I'm going to use a Teams meeting because we use everything's Teams. So I'm not going to put enter location. If you want to use a Zoom link, you just drop the Zoom link here and uncheck team meeting. Then here are the settings. So I want to make sure I get notified. If I want the auto schedule, so once the team all picks once they all vote, then Outlook automatically creates a meeting request, which is so amazing. I don't have to think about it. Like I just think about it here, and then like I go on to the next thing, and all of a sudden the meeting's planned. This right here says hold times on my calendar. Remember how it said Red Cape Academy had all those holds? Then I would choose that now, and then I would say add to email. Before I do that, if this was Colleen scheduling the meeting with Sivan and me and the team, then she would turn off the auto schedule and turn off the hold. The other thing I want to mention is anyone in the to field, their vote matters. So Outlook FindTime will wait until everyone in the to field has voted. It will not wait for everyone in the CC field to vote. So these are the people, the high priority people that their vote is what makes that decision. So I'm going to say here's my availability, add to email. And so it looks like this. And then the person on the other side, everyone just clicks select options, and then it gets scheduled. So that is FindTime. Let me go back here. It's just brilliant. Why does it keep going to that? It just loves that. Oh, I see. I see. FindTime. Oh, I wanted to show you the difference between Doodle Poll. So Doodle Poll is free as well. It just has ads. So if you can't use if you can't use FindTime because you don't have the latest version of Office 365, Doodle Poll will work. And then if you don't want to see the ads, if you don't want to see the ads, then the pricing looks like this. So $4.99, so there's pricing. So that's a difference. All right, I want to talk about one-click conference calls. So traditionally, you probably have seen this where you've probably seen the old-fashioned toll-free number, and now you're probably seeing this in all the Zoom calls and Teams calls, the little the commas. So I want to show you why there's this new comma format, and I'm going to do an exercise with you guys. This used to work when we weren't in lockdown, but let me see if we can do this. All right, so look at me on the screen on my video. And we know back in the day before we were on lockdown that people were taking conference calls from their car. So I want you to do this with me. I want you to put your hands on the wheel, and Sivan, you'll have to do this too with me, okay? Put your hands on the wheel, and you're driving back in the old days, driving, you realize you have to be on a conference call. So if you think about it, it's like, okay, now I've got to find my phone. So go find your phone somewhere. So here's my phone, and I'm driving. Thanks for playing along, Sivan. We get our phone. So you have to think about the conference call starting right now. What mode is your phone in? And typically people will say it's locked. So then you have to lie to your phone and say you're not driving and unlock it. And Sivan, you can go ahead and put your hands down because we've all crashed. So I'll do this. So we look at our phone, we unlock it, and think about this. Where is the meeting? Where is the conference call that we need to find in order to get onto the call? And it's in the calendar. So now while I'm driving, I now have to find my calendar, get out out of the dating apps I was in, and then get into my calendar. See, I'm driving, look how dangerous this is. Find my calendar, find the meeting, and then when I do, now look at my screen, there's this, it looks like a hyperlink, and I'm driving, I click on the hyperlink, and it says, "Welcome to the conference bridge. Please enter your participant passcode." Where is the participant passcode? It is in the calendar invite. What mode is your device on right now? It's in phone mode. So now while you're driving, you have to go back to your calendar and go, and it keeps saying, "Please enter your code." And you're like, "Okay, yeah. Hold on 1 second. I got it. And then after a while, it keeps asking you for the code and says, "Thank you for calling. Goodbye." I wish I could do that in a London, British accent. So it's super dangerous, and to have the old-fashioned conference call number like this. So that's why you see this inside of these new virtual meetings, is you'll see these commas. And what happens is when somebody clicks on the hyperlink with the commas, if I'm driving to the grocery store, I can click on it and it says, "Welcome to the conference bridge. Please enter your participant." It automatically dials it. So check to make sure all of your conference bridge, all of your virtual meetings have some sort of way for people to one-click into their meetings. It's super, super helpful. Each comma is a 1-second pause. So what happens is it dials the number, waits 3 seconds, and then it dials the code, and then the hashtag or pound, depending on your generation. And then if there's a leader code, you can create these. In fact, if, let's say that I'm going to go ahead and type something in here. Let's say that your phone number was 1-800 or let's just say whatever your number is. And then people would have to, they'd have to push option 1 and then dial extension 103 or something like that. So let's say people called Red Cape. "Thank you for calling Red Cape. If you know the party's extension, please press 1. "Thank you for pressing 1. You did a good job. Go ahead and dial the extension now." I just made that up. Surprised people don't hire me for their outgoing message. So instead of doing this, you can actually, if you texted someone or put this in your signature, let me just copy this. You can make the one-click links yourself. All I would do, if I can get this, copy, is you would do comma, 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 1, comma, comma, or you could probably do 2 commas. Each comma is a 1-second pause. So, and I just need, there. That is one click for anyone viewing your signature. So you can create these yourself. So I wanted to show you that. And then I have, should I do themes, Sivan, or should I do questions? Themes is kind of unrelated to virtual work, but you tell me.
Maybe, I'm just thinking of time. Maybe we can just fire through some questions.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then there might be some other things that come off the back of it. So
perfect.
We're on conference calls, one-click conference calls. I used to create them for my boss to make her calls from her iPhone, but I would add 2 commas, not 3. Is there a difference?
It just means you're getting them there faster. So 2 commas is fine. In fact, I just did 2 commas here. It's totally fine. I wouldn't do 4. 4 is too long because people start dialing the code in. So 2 or 3.
So we've had lots of questions around FindTime. Is FindTime useful if the scheduling is only between assistants, meaning the actual meeting participants are not emailed or involved?
Say that again. Let's see. Oh, no. You would, yeah. So you would just do, just like Colleen. If Colleen's not involved with, let's say I ask Colleen to set up this meeting with 5 of us, she's not involved in the meeting. She would do the poll, and then it's just email based, and then she would not do auto schedule or auto hold. She would get a notification saying the date and time is the 30th at 9:30 a.m. And then she would set up a manual meeting request.
Got it. So let me just make sure that if you are sending FindTime, if you are sending a FindTime on behalf of your leader to other assistants, their manager's name is in the to field, or do you put their manager's name in the to field or the CC field, and will this be corrected with the delegate feature?
If I'm trying to book a meeting with 5 leaders, I would, in the to field, I would put the 5 assistants, and I wouldn't put the leaders in there.
Just to get and they would vote, and then you would schedule it and invite the leaders. Got it.
Right, right. I just want I don't want the leaders having to vote. The assistants are all voting for that.
Yeah, got it. And will FindTime only work if the other person has downloaded the app so can access their calendar?
The recipient it goes to a website. The recipient does not need FindTime. Only the person creating it.
And there's another one around FindTime, which I thought was quite interesting, around Google. I can't find it. Hold on. Is there a way to use FindTime with Google also, or is it only available with Outlook?
The person's only available in Outlook. The recipient can be Google. So if I'm setting up a meeting with the 5 of us and one of you has a Google account, they can still vote and it will go to their calendar, but the organizer, the person doing the FindTime polling, has to have FindTime with Outlook. It only works with Outlook and 365, period.
But not Google yet.
Right.
And one quick thing around conference calls. How does it work with different dial-in numbers with the one click if it's from different countries?
So I think same thing. I just happen to use that one in your Zoom call, I think, earlier with me, panelist. So do you see this? So Zoom already does it. So I just want to show y'all, see if I can zoom in here. This is one click. So what happens is it doesn't show up the hyperlink in the meeting request. It only shows up as a hyperlink on my phone. So if I looked at the exact same email, this is what this same email. So on my desktop, it does not show hyperlinks, but on my phone, it does. So you can see all the different options. In fact, I'll take a screenshot of that. I'll take a screenshot of this. I'll use my iPhone to upload it to OneDrive. So I'm going to click share. So I just took a screenshot of this. And then I'm going to use OneDrive here on my app. And then files, photos sent. I'm going to upload it to OneDrive and I'll have it on my computer in just a second. What else?
Just a really controversial one, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to know your answer. Do you consider MS or Google a better tech platform?
Oh, I mean, we use both. So if we have clients on Google, we'll use that. The difference is anything you can do on Google, you can do on Microsoft, on Office 365, but it's not the reverse. So it has the full feature. The thing with 365, it's all web-based. You can save to cloud. It's on any device. But then you get the full featured capabilities of all the apps, the desktop apps, like themes, Excel tables, flash fill in Excel, the reset button in PowerPoint. All of that is only available in Office 365.
I love it. I think it's brilliant. I've been exploring it. I just can't believe how many features it has. There's so many questions. I can
stay on. I can stay on. I mean, the only meeting I have is with y'all after this.
Okay.
It's up to you guys.
Well, let's go through a couple more. We have one here around. Could you please show again how we can view all the open pages at the same time? So I think that was when you go back to your screen and you can see everything on the screen.
Yes.
Control tab, is it?
Yes. Windows tab.
Windows tab.
Yeah. In fact, y'all all can do that now. I'm just gonna. This is my little screenshot I just took. I'm putting it there.
Oh wow.
So Windows tab is called Task View. If you look at the very bottom of your, where your search button is, there's this like little, looks like a Ferris wheel or something. But this is also the button for Task View. So it shows you everything you have open. And then you could see earlier today, yesterday, April 20th, April 19th, April 18th. Looks like I haven't taken a day off. So all of those, you can see exactly what you've been working on. Over on the right has a little slider so you can see. I don't look for things based on date. I use search all the time. So for instance, when I'm in Teams and I do Control E, if I'm looking for, we had a special guest, a celebrity guest, celebrity designer Nate Burkus and his assistant on our webinar a couple weeks ago. So I'm looking for all those assets. So I do Control E in Teams and type Nate and hit enter, and I hear all my messages regarding Nate, and then here are my files regarding Nate. So I rarely ever use Task View to scroll down and find something I was working on Friday, because I don't remember what I was working on Friday. I usually just do Control E in Teams and search everything.
Lots of questions around Teams. So if someone doesn't have Teams and it's not updated, how do you get around this?
Bonnie, my colleague Bonnie Lowe-Crayman, she wrote a book called Be the Ultimate Assistant. She doesn't have Teams, and yet I've created a team in Teams, and here is our collaboration, our workspace for Be the Ultimate Assistant. And I added her as a guest, and she's able to chat in here. She's able to save files. So Teams is web-based. So as long as someone, if it's a Teams meeting, anyone, if it has a link to your Teams meeting, can join. They don't have to have Teams because they'll just log in using the web version of it. But if you want someone to participate in a team and collaborate with you within Teams, you can add them as a guest. You would just say, click here and say add member. So if I wanted Sivan to be a part of this, I would just start typing her email address, and then she would get an invite to join our team.
Okay, because it's web-based, basically.
If you don't have the license, yours is always going to be web-based.
Got it. Mm-hmm. And is there a reason why it doesn't include contact numbers in the invites? Or someone here has put that it doesn't have Teams invites don't have contact numbers.
Oh, like the like Zoom does, where it has the phone. It's all the reason why it's using voice over IP. So it's using the app to do the phone call, similar to WhatsApp. If you've ever used WhatsApp, you're not actually dialing the number. You're actually just using WhatsApp, the app, to do the voice call. So all of the voice component of it is happening inside of Teams versus you using data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that answers the question. Are there any behind-the-scenes configurations that IT teams need to do in order for people to use all the functionalities in Office 365?
Certainly. Let me show you. When you go to office.com, this is what I typically, two things I will ask you when I'm working with you individually. Like, let's say I'm doing a custom class for your company. When I'm talking to you, I'll ask you two things. Number one, when you hit the Windows key and you type Excel, does it say Excel app or does it say Excel 2016? So that tells me that you don't have the latest Office applications. The second thing I would do, and it may be that you haven't downloaded them or IT hasn't distributed them yet. Second thing I would have you do is go to office.com and log in using your work credentials. And then you should be able to see all of these apps. You can click on all apps. So for instance, the To-Do app, the Planner app, the Forms app, there's a chance IT has turned those off. Because what happens is when there's a new technology, like for instance, Planner, Microsoft creates Planner, the planner team gets access to it, then the Office 365 team gets access to it, then Microsoft employees get access to it, then people like me, I'm an insider, I get access to it, and then they allow the general public to get access to it. Then there's one more barrier, one more ring, is what IT allows to come to your computer. So there's a chance you may not see all of these apps. If I click here, you have a ton of different apps here: bookings, calendar, forms. I would definitely check out To Do. It's a great To Do app. Every day is a clean slate, but you can bring over tasks from other things. There's also an app for that. And then the last thing is, if you have access to this, but you still are using Office 2016 on your computer, there's a button called Install Office. So why don't you just go ahead and download the latest version of the apps so that you have all the full featured applications. So that would be my tip.
So logging in and then downloading the latest apps, and then you can, and if there are there particular, you mentioned To Do, Microsoft To Do.
Yes.
Are there any other apps on the Office 365 platform that would be really, really useful in the virtual working environment?
Absolutely. Yes. OneNote for sure. OneNote is where you can Office Lens. Well, so here are the things you need to download to your phone. OneDrive, download Teams, download To Do to your phone. With OneDrive, there is a scanner feature in OneDrive. Okay, right here there's a little camera, and from here I can do a document, a whiteboard, a business card, or a photo, and then that will upload to your OneDrive. So it's a way to scan. So if you're thinking about going, well, we have to go paperless. It's an accelerated phase of going to paperless. OneDrive, OneNote, then you can put information in OneNote and share notebooks with the team. So those would probably be OneDrive, OneNote. To Do. Forms is really great for polling and quizzes. And then the other thing I would do, can I share with you guys some strategies on how to add value during this time? Is this a good time, Sivan, to talk about this?
Definitely, 100%.
Okay. So I know a lot of people are trying to figure out, well, now I feel invisible. How do I add value to my team? I have lots of expertise. One thing you can do is, as a group of assistants in your organization, is start collecting everyone's expertise. Bonnie talks about this all the time. And you could use your Office 365 profile to do this. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to come over to here. I want to go to office.com. Thing is adding up. So if I go to, I'm going to go back over here to my Office apps and go to Office 365. Let's say I'm looking for somebody with the crystal report skills or yoga skills or whatever. I'm going to type in this search field. This is taking too long. I'm going to type in here crystal reports. This is just a reporting the technology, and I go ahead and search. And it's going to find anything that has crystal reports, but I'm looking for people. So I click on people, crystal reports. There we go. Oh, look, it's me. So it shows me that I have been working on these projects and skills. So I can look at my profile and somewhere show more profiles, emails, LinkedIn, organization. About me. I started training in 1997. Here are my special skills and expertise. I want you to build out your profile. What projects are you currently working on? Your education, your skills and expertise, because then people can start searching. And the way you do that, you go over to your avatar at the top right, and you go to My Office profile, and there's going to be an area for skills and expertise. So start filling that in so that everything is searchable within your Office 365 program. So you can come over here to update profile to do that. So all of your assistants, whatever projects you're working on, do that, and then show people how they can search. I would also take this time to consider doing 30-minute lunch and learns. Whatever your expertise is in, if there's tips that you're learning from these webinars you're attending, or each person do a 5-minute presentation, whatever you want to do. Start creating some sort of digital etiquette, list of digital etiquette, best practices or virtual etiquette best practices. instead of IT coming up with the virtual etiquette list of best practices, why don't you as assistants come up with it? Because that way you have full input and you can share that with the team. Consider getting certified. Microsoft Office has certifications. This is a good time to get certified. If you have some downtime, I'll help you with that. Well, we didn't talk about themes and templates, so don't worry about there. Praise your colleagues. In Teams, there's a way in the chat to send praise. So let me show you here. So I'm going to do Control N. And then here is this praise button here. So I can click on praise, send praise to, well, let me go here. Okay, well, I need to do, let's see, Colleen. Oh, I need to type something. Oh. So if I wanted to, if I'm in a team, I wouldn't do this just to her, but I'd normally do it in more of a public profile, a public area. Anyway, I can't, for some reason it's not doing it, but there's a way that you can do praise, like, hey, congratulations to so-and-so. Thanks so much for hosting that webinar, whatever. Start praising your colleagues within Teams. And then you could lead a team internally to get organized, to get tech savvy, to get certified, or to work on your tech savvy skills. So look at that list, say, what do we want to work on in the next 90 days? And it's probably the digital skills in the virtual environment would be the best. Here, I have this on the screen. We'll send you a follow-up. The best thing I'd love for you to do is do a survey. Is come over here to the survey. This is where I would send you, if you fill this out, I will send you the Tech Savvy document and all the information about some webinars that we're doing this week. You can always go to my calendar and certainly connect with me on LinkedIn. So I'm going to stop there and have you jump in, Sivan. I can still answer questions, so I'm here.
Yeah, okay. I mean, can you share Microsoft to-do lists with your boss? So if your boss starts like typing away things, can you share them with each other, or are they individual to you?
That I don't know the answer to. George Sayre, so let me see. That's okay. Create, write up, text intent, sample video, add file, remove, add note. You can't do it. It doesn't look like you can do it on To-Do. However, I would look at Planner. Look at Microsoft Planner. It's like Trello, and they have the columns and the different boards that you can create, and you can share those. You can assign tasks to people. So if you do want it to be more collaborative, I would definitely choose Planner, and then Planner integrates with To-Do. So anything from Planner will show up in your manager's to-do list.
Okay.
That's probably the best way.
Mm-hmm. And I want to know if Microsoft's aware of the fact that their calendar doesn't sync as well with an iPhone from Outlook.
I would have to have more information about that. I'm using iPhone, and I will tell you the CEO of Microsoft uses iPhone as well as his assistant. So I will need more information about that.
No, that's all I have. So
okay, cool. Okay, yeah, they can message me on LinkedIn.
Okay, cool. And I think we'll go for the for the last question. Is it possible when on a call in Teams to stop anyone else calling at the same time? My colleagues ignore the do not disturb.
Oh, they ignore it. Do not disturb. That is part of your digital etiquette or virtual etiquette sheet. Is the talk about status. Is when you're calling, if someone has do not disturb. First thing is, if you see do not disturb, you can always send a message, a chat message, and say, hey, do you have a second? When you're on do not disturb or a virtual meeting, that message doesn't come up. So when I'm presenting, if I put on do not disturb, I would never see Colleen's or my team's messages to me when I'm virtually presenting. So make that part of your, I would take ownership. If one of the things, I'm a former assistant, and one of the things that really frustrates me, especially from a technology standpoint, is IT departments don't evaluate and analyze how assistants work, and they then deploy all this technology without the assistant's input. This is the perfect time if you are absolutely wanting to provide input in new processes. create the list. Like, I want input in what we talk about as far as virtual etiquette. Create it, do it, and then send it out to everyone and get consensus from everybody else.
I really like the idea of the digital etiquette and the virtual etiquette because, I think especially for like morale, sometimes you just don't know when to speak. You don't know how to speak, especially if there's a lot of people in a meeting. So I think that's a really great tip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly going to implement it here.
And one idea too is to have everyone turn off their cameras, and then turn off their camera. And if they have a question, turn on their camera so people will see the camera pop up, and that's kind of like raising your hand. And I think a lot of them have raised hands now, and Teams will have raised hands soon. But if you just turn on your camera, that indicates you have a question or want to talk.
That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. Well, I think I'm gonna let you head off now. Thanks so much for joining us and for giving up your time. And we'll send out the recording of this. So if you missed anything and you want to go slowly and make a note, we're going to send you all the recordings so you'll get everything. And we'll try and answer some more of your questions. Vickie's put, this is obviously just a taster. So if you want more information, please head to Vickie's website. She's put together an Office 365 on-demand training, which is 3 modules. I've actually downloaded it myself. It's brilliant. And that's all available on her website. She obviously also comes into companies and makes it really tailored to your organization. So she's just great. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Yvonne. I appreciate it.
To see us. I'm just going to quickly share my screen and give a little plug next week, which I think you will also, you'll know this person very well. So we're really lucky that next week we've got another amazing webinar, and we really hope you guys will join. It's specifically for the EAs. It's Vickie's colleague, Bonnie Kramer, who doesn't have Teams, and I think we need to tell her to get Teams. She is an international author, trainer. She's the organizer of BDA, which is Be the Ultimate Assistant, which is Vickie and her international training globally that I attended in New York. It was brilliant. And we're actually going to be having a live conversation all about why the time is now for assistants, why it's more important than ever that you be proactive and upskill yourself. And we're going to give you loads of additional ideas on things that you can do around that, and more sort of the softer skills alongside the techie stuff. Leaders really need assistants' perspectives right now, and Bonnie and I are going to be talking about that and how you can be part of the conversation and giving you guys some influencing and persuasion tips that you can use to feel more confident, making your voice heard right now, basically. So that'll be next week. We'll be sending out the details tomorrow. So please feel free to share with anyone that you think will find it relevant, and we'll send away the recording. And that's it. Thanks very much.
Yay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. We've got so many comments. Great. Well, we'll sign out of this one. Thanks, Vickie.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Yvonne. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye.